Hello everybody, welcome to my channel 25th and South. My name is Cece and today you're watching a speed build video. Now this video is a part of the little series that I have here in the Brightchester world. It's going to be on another 20 by 15 lot. It's a bungalow style home. If you've been watching my channel, you know I've already done a bungalow style home for a elder couple and their college going grandson, and so today I'm going to do one for a couple of male students, possibly graduate students or final year students. They've moved into this rented bungalow, and I'll put up the inspiration photo for this particular house right now. And so the whole concept for this particular bungalow house is I have two male Sims. They are in school and they're kind of partiers a little bit. They've rented this old style bungalow house. It hasn't been renovated on the inside, so all of the walls and everything are kind of dated, but they mostly, when they're not studying, they're just, you know, throwing parties or having little get-togethers. And so the house itself, it's a bit messy. There's stuff all over the place. I really loved cluttering this particular build. It was a lot of fun. Of course, it comes in, or it has 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, a living space, and a kitchen area with laundry. And if you open up the Discover University pack, you do know that there is a build here. It's like a 3-story townhouse. I understand those particular builds. I mean, if you look in the background of this world, there are a lot of townhouses, but they're all connected, and there's something about the townhouse just sort of sitting there by itself in the middle of nowhere, no other houses around it, that just makes it look weird and out of place and just doesn't fit to me. So, and same for the other 2 builds that are in this particular portion of Brightchester. They just looked so out of place. So I replaced it with bungalows. This is the second one. I'll be working on putting out the one that I've done for the Pleasant Sisters that's right beside the Elderberry house. Hopefully it'll be out in the next couple of weeks. Just putting it together, but as you can see, the house has come together, the floor plan is come together. I've put up the wall paper for the outside. I loved that blue siding, and now I'm going into the exterior, and I kind of diverted from the hardwood floors that I've put in the other 2 and went with carpeting, because like I said, this house is completely outdated, and you will see, note the wallpaper. I started to use this wallpaper, but then I used this base game one, which I actually love, the base game tiling in the kitchen. And then for the bedrooms, I just went with some sort of beige, you know, apartment rental beige. But I think I start off working on the kitchen. Yeah, here we go. And I just used some Parenthood counters, base game appliances. And like I said, I wanted the space to feel really dated, so I started to put an island, and then I thought, well, this house, when it was built, or at least when it was renovated last, they probably didn't think to put in the island. So I left the island out, and I just put a big table in the middle. And so kind of the most packs that I use, I kind of was all over the place with the packs, to be quite honest. I tried to use as much university as possible, since this is set in the university world, but I get to building and picking items out, and I lose all track of what I'm putting in there. Like, it really is difficult for me to stick with one pack. I'm going to have to put out a build by video, or a speed build video where I use limited packs and just to do it as sort of a challenge for myself, because it is a challenge. Like, I go putting things down and I'm not even paying attention to where they're coming from. Like, I know where they're coming from, pretty much know where most of the items in this house are from. I'm just not focusing on it when I'm throwing it down, especially in a build like this where the idea is to make it seem like the residents here just found items. So like, you'll notice in the living room, which I'm working on now, there is just a crazy mix of different furniture and different pieces. Like, I put a ping pong table right in the middle of the entryway. So it's just kind of all over the place. And so see, I use a get to work console table that you'd find in like the police station as the table that they use to put their TV on. So it's really supposed to look like they either found things, they bought things at the thrift store, or they were donated things. So as you saw, I quickly did the bathroom. It's dated as ever, nothing special to it. And now I'm working on the bedrooms. So the two Sims that live here, two male Sims, one is in the photography, or getting his degree in photography, and the other is getting a degree in robotics or some sort of computer science type degree. And they're, in my mind, they're in their last year, or they're in their graduate years. They're no longer really stressing about classes like they used to when they first started, and they've got a pretty good grasp on what's expected of them in class, to where now they'll have like a get together in the middle of the week, and it's not a big deal because they know that, oh, this professor is cool, relaxed, or I don't necessarily have to go to this class. I just have to turn in the homework. You know, they're kind of at a point where they're not so stressed about being perfect students, and they're more interested in just sort of hanging out and finishing their degree program. So like I said, one is a computer science major and the other is a photography major. Now, I clutter up the shared living space a lot, and my thinking behind this is that, at least in this instance, they've just come back, or they've just had a party, or their living space is just constantly in a state of they just had a party, right? So it's supposed to look cluttered. It's supposed to feel like there's too much stuff going on, or just a whole lot going on, because, you know, they're kind of lazy, and when they come in from class or from maybe their part-time jobs during, you know, a regular day, they walk past the living room and they go to their bedrooms to sleep or to study or to work on things. The photographer is probably rarely ever at home. He's probably at school in the dark room or on the computer developing his photos. And so their shared living space is just constantly in a state of a mess. As you can see, I put that jack-o'-lantern. Like, when did they have a Halloween party? Probably months ago, but they've yet to put away this jack-o'-lantern. And so it's just kind of supposed to look like it's constantly, as I keep saying, in a state of there was a party here. And all their friends and people who hang out with them just kind of expect that. Like, I put Strangerville stains on the floor, put a little hole in the wall, put some cobwebs in the corner. But yeah, all of their friends just kind of expect when they come over their house, this is how it looks. Everyone's used to it. But it's such a homey and entertaining vibe that no one really minds. And even the guys here don't really mind. They're not really neat freaks or anything like that. They kind of try to keep the bathroom clean and keep the kitchen somewhat clean so they don't have, you know, bugs or anything. But the rest of the house is just kind of whatever. Now I'm working on the kitchen. As I said, it's going to be cluttered, not as cluttered as the living room, but there's going to be sort of stuff that makes it seem like, again, they're constantly in a state of partying, hanging out. So I put those paper plates because you know they don't use real plates, and maybe one of them does like to cook, and so I put some items here that would signify that they use a little bit more advanced cooking. I have that sort of condiment set up on the table because, you know, they're constantly grabbing ketchup and mustard and stuff for their food. As you can see, there's some slope there, so they try to be somewhat clean. I did not put a dishwasher in it in this build because, again, this house isn't supposed to be, it's relatively updated within the last, 20 years. So there's not going to have, the landlord probably didn't want to put it on a bunch of newer technology. But here I'm moving on to the bedrooms, and this is the computer science major's bedroom. And as you can see, had to put that clock up on the wall, I use a lot of dark woods and things in his room. You will see that the only real space that's cluttered in this room is his desk area, which I imagine he's just constantly on the computer working on projects, and so everything that he has just kind of lands here, and his bed and the rest of his room isn't really used that much. Like, he probably goes 3 a.m. working on a project from his desk to his bed and just sort of lays out flat. And so that section of the room is not as cluttered as this section of the room, just because I mentioned he just doesn't, he doesn't spend all of his time sleeping. Sleeping is just a result of him being too tired to continue his projects and to continue to work. So he's one that he will spend maybe Monday and Tuesday working on his projects, working as hard as he can, working throughout the night, and then the rest of the week just hanging out, partying. He's got all of it done. It's due on Thursday, it's due on Wednesday. So he does it all in one shot and spends the rest of his time hanging out and partying. But I really loved putting together the space. I really got into the debug menu in this build. I normally don't that much, just because it can take a while to find items, and I get kind of a perfectionist-y about it. Like, I have to put items in a particular place and sort of set things up in a particular way, and that can be a bit overwhelming. So I tend to stay out of the debug menu. But I was watching one of my favorite builders, Sim Silly, and I know that she loves getting in the debug menu. Also, I think another creator that I love watching, The Tide's Changing, she loves getting in the debug menu. So I decided to crawl into the debug menu and see what I can find. Now I'm working on the photographer student, or the photography student's bedroom, and I want to say out of the two of them, he's probably the most one likely to think about his appearance and to think about his looks, and to kind of think about his bedroom being a little bit more of a safe haven, so that he can fight over girls or guys and they feel like they're in sort of a comfortable place. I put that VIP bucket that you get from Gold for a date there. So he's a little bit more suave than the computer science guy. Neither of them are particularly nerdy or athletic or anything. They're just sort of super chill type of guys. But I imagine that the photographer is a bit more of a ladies' man than or a bit more charming than the computer science guy. And the computer science guy is just really laid back and chill and just likes to hang out with everybody and isn't particularly interested in romance all that much. But as you can see, I kind of went a bit opposite in giving him more lighter tone things. And even though that city living bed is supposed to be uncomfortable, I just love a lot of the swatches in this bed. I think they're really pretty. So at the risk of my Sims not sleeping properly, I do like to use it whenever I can. And as you can see, he has his shoes laid up. He has his favorite suits and outfits laid up. Yeah, I still wanted to keep the theme of they probably acquired a lot of the items they have even in their bedrooms, but their bedrooms are a bit more put together. So here I am working on the landscaping, and if you've watched my videos for any length of time, watch my speed builds, you know I typically have already done this in the video. Kind of how I film or build is I'll do all the exterior or most of the exterior first, but I wasn't really sure how I wanted to do the landscaping on the outside because like these are college students, probably 20, 21, 22 years old. They're not really interested in necessarily gardening. So I was trying to think of who is the person or who are the people that is keeping up this lawn. And I would think that the landlord probably has hired a local landscaper, gardening company, and they basically said make this landscaping as low maintenance as possible. So no real flowers, just all plants, because you know the landlord over the years has rented his place out or rented their place out to college students, and when there were flowers they all died. And so he's like, no real flowers. As you can see, I've moved on to the backyard and I kind of scorched the ground to look like they're constantly out here partying. You can't keep this grass looking decent at all. So yeah, the landlord is like, when it comes to landscaping, the bare minimum, things that kind of grow and look pretty on their own and you don't have to really try. I love decorating the backyard. And I put that floaty in the backyard. Now, when I was player testing, it kind of floats on the ground. Like you can't actually use it. It floats on the ground. And I just decided to keep that. I did get rid of that bonfire because when I was thinking, I was like, oh no, they're going to destroy this place with that bonfire. But we are moving into the screenshots now. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a happy thumbs up by way of pressing the like button. Comment down below what you think of it. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. I post videos every week and I would love for you to join. Again, my name is Cece and I promise never to break your game. Bye.